Wait a minute, let me get this microphone in front of my face. Okay, all right. Good Wednesday afternoon. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, okay, my mic is good. I just want to make sure my mic is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of the MEAC More here on the HBCU Sports YouTube channel. Of course, I am Chris Stevens, your friendly neighborhood media student athletic conference. I guess I'd call myself a beat writer, for HBCU sports. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. As you can tell, I am doing wonderfully because it is Libra season and my birthday is tomorrow. So September 25th is the day I came into this world. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'll be 44. Like, where does the time go? Like, oh my gosh. I'll talk more about my birthday in a minute, but shouts out to Stutter and Noop. We have good news for you guys. Ken Rashad is home from the hospital. He is resting comfortably. He is doing well. His wife Dee said that they were taking, short walks, but he's probably going to have to slow down a little bit. But in the meantime, Ken is doing well. He thanks you for your prayers. We thank you for your prayers for Ken. And the boss man will be back in about 6 to 8 weeks. So we're going to go ahead and, keep this party going. And when Ken comes back, we're going to have a grand old time, covering the Celebration Bowl and all of that good stuff. So thank you guys for all your well wishes for Ken. He's doing well. He's resting comfortably. His surgery went off with no complications. So I'm not a very religious person, but I'll go ahead and say it. God is good. So, we are happy that Ken is home. He's doing well. He's still keeping in contact with his trusters. I mean, he's still on our butts about keeping a website updated, our podcast going and everything. So even though he's not hands-on, he's still very much in the picture. So we are, keeping things, up to snuff over here at HBCU Sports. So now that we've gotten that wonderful update for you guys, let me go ahead and tell you who our sponsor is. The sponsor for the, where the heck did it go? Hold on now. All right. There it is. Our weekly sponsor, as always, for the MEAC More is Rock Solid Contracting and Development out of Wilmington, Delaware. Rock Solid Contracting handles construction, demolition, and remediation for various projects in the Wilmington, Delaware area and other parts of the country. If you are interested, go visit rocksolidworks.net. And once again, we would like to thank Rock Solid Contracting for sponsoring this here podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And if you would like to sponsor a HBCU Sports podcast, we are open to anybody with a organization or a business that if you would like to, help us out with some ad dollars. We are more than we'll be glad to have you guys on. Email us at staff@hbcusports.com, and we will get back with you in time, to discuss, the parameters and all those different things so you can advertise with us. We're open for business in that regard. So, yeah, we're going to talk about this stuttering noob. I mean, this was, Lord have mercy. We're going to talk about that in a minute. However, I wanted to start off with something that just happened yesterday, and this is very important. It is not sports related, but it is HBCU sports related. Some idiots from a group called, what the hell is this group called again? I forget what they're called. Oh, the Fearless Tour. Those morons. They went and harassed Tennessee State students yesterday. They set up, they weren't even invited. They literally just trespassed on campus, put a table up, put chairs out and said, DEI sucks, change my mind and all of that crap. And then when they got ushered off of campus, rightfully so, by the Tennessee State students, and there was no violence. And now they're talking about, oh, wow, these Tennessee State students are terrible. Defund Tennessee State and all of that. Let me tell you something. Can I say this? I want to be really careful about this, but I do believe that as an HBCU organization, HBCU sports organization, HBCU news organization with 4 HBCU grads on the staff, it is our duty to uphold and honor and respect and protect our institutions. And these same fools who go to these college campuses looking for a fight, they knew what they were doing. Like, this is they're petty, they're childish, yes, but this is the point of it all. Like, they're still trying to carry on with what happened to Mr. Talking Out the Side of Your Neck. That's right, I said it. That's his new nickname. We gonna do this. You want to clown, you want to harass HBCUs, we're gonna give you a taste of HBCU culture. You shouldn't have been talking out the side of your neck. How about that? And I'm tired. I'm absolutely sick and tired of having of black people expected to bow down to a system that has never had our best interest in heart at the first place. And I'm so sick and tired of, oh, the kids were respectful, the kids were this, the kids were that. The kids should have stomped those clowns within an inch of their life. I'm talking about teeth and gums and brain matter all over the campus. And let me go ahead and say this. The thoughts and opinions of Chris Stevens do not reflect those of HBCU sports. Just want to let me make that clear before I go any further. I'm tired of turning the other cheek because you only got two. How many times can you slap me on each cheek before I rear back and punch you in yours one good time? That's what I want to know. I mean, these are college kids. These are young black men and women going to college to get an education, to do right, meet new people, learn some things in the process and become better adults, better citizens. And here you go. Here you clowns go. Come, KD, I appreciate your concern, man, but trust me, I'm crazier than the outhouse rat. I may appear to have it all together, but I ain't all there myself. So, I mean, there's no fear in my heart. My grandfather once slapped a cop with a bag of ice. The crazy runs in my family. So I have no fear. None whatsoever. None. I'm not scared. But back to the point. I'm tired of, I'm proud of our kids. I'm proud of our kids at Tennessee State for, being diplomatic and getting those clowns off of their campus, but I wouldn't have had a problem if they weren't diplomatic and just at all. Snatch and drag. I don't care. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But I get why we are praising our kids for doing that because, that's what Dr. King did. One of the greatest Americans, one of the greatest human beings to ever walk this planet. This dude said, nah, we ain't got to fight back. We just going to stop taking the buses. And they stopped. And Montgomery, Alabama absolutely suffered from the bus boycott. So, yes, peaceful resistance does work. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm tired of peaceful resistance being the only way we can let these folks know that we ain't the ones or the twos. Enough is enough. You knew what you were doing going on at campus trying to harass black kids. You were trying to bait them into a fight and you failed miserably. And now you're talking about defund Tennessee State. You can't do anything worse than what the state of Tennessee's already done to Tennessee State University. Let's make that abundantly clear. You can tag the Tangerine Tyrant. You can tag Sawface Linda McMahon. You can do all of that. The state of Tennessee already has you covered. They've been trying to defund Tennessee State for 100 years, and they haven't succeeded yet. So you can try to make that your little rallying cry on social media, but you're going to fail at it because our schools are strong. Our schools are resilient. The people in our schools are strong and resilient. And I just wanted to get that off my chest before I go any further because I am sick and tired of living in a country where the people who are supposed to be white supremacists are just insecure cowards. And it's time we address them as such. If you were so secure in your supremacy and how big and bad and better you are than everybody else, you wouldn't need to put, all these systems in place to just keep you guys, at an arm's length. And you're not even at arm's length because you're not as good at anything as you think you are. At anything. Y'all can't even do fascism right. Yeah, you can try and scare people. Yeah, you tried to get Jimmy Kimmel off the air, but as soon as people started dropping them Disney subscriptions, they said, oh no, we got to have that man back on the air. And now you look dumber than you already look. How about them apples? But yeah, shouts out to the good kids at Tennessee State. Good on y'all for, peaceful resistance. We're proud of y'all. We got y'all's back 120%. We gonna talk this up for y'all. We gonna, protect y'all. We gonna respect y'all. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and just let that pass by and say, okay, we can't discuss this. We have to discuss this because it is time that black people understand that we are stronger together than any bigotry could ever be. And once we figure that out, then we're gonna make some inroads. I promise you. I guarantee you. So big up to the Tennessee State kids once again. And I would give a certain digit to those morons, but I don't want Ken Rashad to be in trouble with the FCC. I mean, the man is recovering from heart surgery. I don't want him to get a bill from the FCC for my shenanigans. But as always, to quote the esteemed Lanithia Monique Leaks, I said what I said. And ain't a person alive going to back me down off of it. Bottom line. That being said, let's get on to the football, shall we? That's why we're here, right? Let's have some fun. And today is my honor and privilege, as it always is every week, to bring you guys the MEAC More money players for week 4, where there was more money for their teammates and more problems for the opposition. And we are going to start with a new twist. Normally, shout out to my guy, Jared Hoffman. Be sure to check him out tomorrow afternoon for the Better Than Less Than podcast, where you can get all your CIAA, SIAC, NAIA football news. He's got you covered in spades with that. So please, check him out. You'll be glad you did. So we're going to do something a little different this week. Normally we stick with individual players. However, this is a special case. We got to give the MEAC More Money Bag of the Week award to the North Carolina Central offense. I mean, if you can see what's on the screen, it ain't going to lie to you. 765 yards total offense, school record. Senior running back, Chris Mosley, 11 carries, 168 yards, 4 catches, 90 yards, 5 total touchdowns, MEAC Offensive Player of the Week. Senior quarterback, Walker Harris, 22 of 29, 380 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Senior running back, A.J. Rogers. I've been calling him Arthur Rogers Jr. for the longest time. Apparently, he's A.J. on the team, so I'm going to get that right. So, senior running back, A.J. Rogers, 12 carries, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. And we will talk more about that North Carolina Central game in a minute. But yes, we're giving one of our awards to the entire North Carolina Central offense because, good Lord, they earn it. Ooh, Lord have mercy. All right. We move on to Howard University and Jaquavion Smith, junior linebacker. 7 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, totaling 19 yards and losses. He won the MEAC Defensive Player of the Week as Howard finally exercised that Hampton demon. We'll talk about that game as well. Our guy Jared Hoffman was there on the coverage. You should go read his story about that, by the way. It's on hbcusports.com. And last but certainly not least, James Jones, junior running back from Delaware State, 7 carries, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns. Most of that coming in the first half, by the way, including a 90-yard touchdown, which is tied for the longest run in school history, which was originally set by Dwayne Henry. No, not the Major League Baseball pitcher. We have like 3 or 4 Dwayne Henrys in the state of Delaware, and a couple of them went to Delaware State. But yes, Dwayne Henry scored a 90-yard touchdown against Towson in 1985. So James Jones tied a 40-year-old school record on Saturday. So big up to James Jones, part of the top rushing offense in all of FCS, the Delaware State Hornets. So yes. Very good week for the MEAC as a whole across the board this week. In week 4, we saw Delaware State run its winning streak to 3 straight games. They had no problem with St. Francis. Granted, St. Francis isn't the same team they probably would have been if they were still, considered FCS, but now they're in the transition of moving to Division III. It may not be the same team, but they're still FCS for the moment. So that's still a big win for Delaware State. Morgan State did what they were supposed to do against Central State. No surprises there, 27-zip. South Carolina State hung with South Florida for a first half, but South Florida turned it on in that third quarter, and it was, thanks for coming. We got some lovely parking gifts for you. Oh, Amanda, you a Central grad. You ain't supposed to care what happens to Hampton, are you? But yeah, we're going to talk about Central in a minute because that was a destruction. Who else played this week? Everybody else played this. Yeah, Norfolk State. They had to come back. They almost pulled off the comeback. Couldn't do it. Fell to Sacred Heart 31-28. And then, of course, we got this monstrosity. Lord. Jesus. It's not every day that you score 60 points in a season, but to do it twice in the same rivalry back-to-back years. I mean, hey, North Carolina Central's got North Carolina A&T's number. It's a foregone conclusion at this point that Central is in their bag right now. And I would venture to say that not only is North Carolina Central the best offense in the MEAC, they might be the best offense in Black college football, period, right now. And sorry, I accidentally unplugged my microphone. But as I was saying, I think North Carolina Central is not only the best offense in the MEAC, that might be the best offense in Black college football. And I know Alabama State is cooking right now. Matter of fact, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Alabama State against Florida A&M this weekend on HBCU Go. But North Carolina Central's offense is just, oh Lord, like you got weapons on top of weapons on top of weapons. You got Walker Harris, who is now getting firsthand. I mean, he already was getting firsthand tutelage when he was backing up Davius Richard. But now that Davius Richard is the North Carolina Central quarterback coach, like those two are working in tandem beautifully. And Walker Harris is having a MEAC Offensive Player of the Year type of season so far. And he's not the only one on that offense. I mean, Chris Mosley, he averages 10 yards a carry, a first down every time he touches the ball. Do you know what kind of home run hitter that is for your offense? You know, if you give a guy, you pitch a guy left, you pitch a guy right, you hand him off, whatever. You either gonna have a first down or close to it in one carry. That is bananas. Bananas. Word to Gwen Stefani. Just incredible offense. Incredible offense. EA, I'll be honest with you. This is a fair question. Is that a fair assessment against A&T's defense? I mean, A&T did give up 68. Well, Central Florida, I don't think that matters that much. Central Florida is Central Florida. But then again, they only allowed 24 points to Tennessee State. They allowed 27 to Hampton, but most of that came, in the overtime. So I don't think that we can discount what North Carolina Central's offense has done because North Carolina A&T is still struggling. I think this North Carolina Central offense is the best in the MEAC by a country mile. And I'm saying this as a dude who's watched Delaware State football improve mightily over the last 3 weeks. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, there isn't a competition in the MEAC for a good offense, but Central's right now is just far and away the best. Like they have beefy offensive linemen, veteran offensive linemen who are, technique sound, and you've got your home run hitters. You put that together, it's all on one page. It's very, very hard to stop. It doesn't matter if you're North Carolina A&T. It doesn't matter if you are. It don't matter who you are. You got to stop them. And right now, credit to Old Dominion, because Old Dominion was the only team that really just legally stopped North Carolina Central. Everybody else, even New Hampshire, had their trouble with North Carolina Central, even though they won that game. So, are you? And am I going to go ahead and say Central is the favorite right now? Yes, I am. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Central is the favorite to win the MEAC for me right now. At this point in time, on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, 12:18 Eastern Standard Time, I'm saying now that North Carolina Central at this moment is the favorite to win the MEAC. They've just played very, very well right now. Jared says, I don't know if I ever expected A&T to be a contender after hiring Sean Gibbs, but I definitely didn't ever expect them to look this bad. Yeah, Sean Gibbs has his work cut out for him. And I've said it before. I think he's the man for the job. I think he does. I think he's got what it takes to get the job done. But it's going to take a while. It's absolutely going to take a while. And he's already off on the right foot, in my humble opinion, because he dismissed a player who squirted a water bottle at North Carolina Central coach Trey Oliver. That, to me, is the sign of a coach that is coming in to clean it up. Bottom line. I don't care who you are. Rivalry games get heated, but you need to, as a player, you need to keep that between you and the other players. You don't need to be getting coaches involved. You don't need to be getting cheerleaders involved. You don't need to be getting band members involved. It is between you and that other guy wearing helmets and pads. Bottom line, when you start veering off into, bugging cheerleaders or, fake spitting at bands and all of that stuff and all this other stuff. But, once you start, doing that, you asking for trouble. And Sean Gibbs is right to quote the late great Barney Fife, nip it in the bud. Like Sean said, Coach Gibbs said, we can't have that. And we're not going to have that. So credit to him for setting a standard and setting a boundary. And as a person, as a person who was raised kind of strict, hi mom. As a person who was raised kind of strict, I get that, that kids kind of sort of need a little latitude with certain things, but I don't think this is one of those things. Quite honestly, I don't think as an adult you should be making untoward gestures. I mean, as a kid, as a young adult, you shouldn't be making untoward gestures toward anybody that is, sort of like a senior person above you. And I mean, granted, not every elder has the benefit of the doubt when it comes to respect. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look at who's running the country. Who really respects that guy other than his cult? But I mean, I don't think that as a North Carolina A&T player, you should be, doing the Randy Moss to Trey Oliver. I don't think you should. If he was, Amanda, then yes, it's on the coach to, rein himself and his staff in as well. If that's true. I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't anywhere near Greensboro, North Carolina. I haven't been anywhere near Greensboro, North Carolina since I went to A&T for a college tour when I was 16. That was 28 years ago. Damn. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't anywhere near Greensboro, so I can't say what happened for certain, but I can tell you that as a player, you have to sort of know what the boundaries are. Like, if you want to, start, chop blocking guys on the other team. I mean, yeah, you might get a 15-yarder for it, but I mean, at least you're taking it out on a pier. You can't just be spraying a water bottle at a head football coach. That is just a no-go. That is absolutely a no-go. So, yeah. So, but right now, I don't think we should be talking about how bad North Carolina A&T is, because honestly, we knew that it was going to be a struggle for A&T this year. Everyone was excited that they beat Hampton, which is good for them. But I don't know if they win another game this year. If they do, we should celebrate that. But I don't know if they win another game this year. We should be talking about just how good North Carolina Central looks in HBCU competition. Granted, it gets a little tougher this weekend because they go to well, not really. I think they should beat East Texas A&M because Grambling beat that East Texas A&M. And do I think Central beats Grambling? Absolutely. And if Grambling beat, and transitive property says if Central could beat Grambling and Grambling beat East Texas A&M, then Central should be able to beat East Texas A&M. And then Central has a bye week, and then they go to Tallahassee. They go to Bragg, where they brag different. Florida A&M. That's going to be a fun one on October 11th. I'm going to be tuned in for that one, buddy. Actually, no, I'm not, because that's Del State's homecoming. So I'll be at Del State's homecoming. Maybe while I'm covering the game, I'll pull it up on my laptop. But yeah, I forgot how fast my own homecoming was that quick. That's a doggone shame. But yeah, we need to talk about just how good this North Carolina Central team is, man. We knew A&T was going to struggle, but Central just looks really, really good amongst their own kind right about now. Then we'll find out how good they are with these last two non-conference games when they go out to Commerce, Texas, and then Bragg the week after next. So should be fun. It should be fun. But yeah, the other big win this week from a MEAC school was Howard University for the first time since Donald Trump won the election the first time. Oh God. But still, Howard beat Hampton soundly 34-7. So Howard is 3-1 right now. They look like the 2023 MEAC champions. But that has to do in 2025. I'm not certain yet. But they look like the 2023 MEAC champions. I mean, our guy Jared Hoffman was our boots on the ground. Whoa, where them fans at? But yeah, Jared Hoffman was our boots on the ground at Audi Field on Saturday, and he kept us updated on just how terrible Hampton looked. that particular game. And I was able to tune in for a little bit in between watching the Delaware State St. Francis game. But Howard looks like a football team that has rebuilt and reloaded. I mean, granted, they weren't going to beat Temple, but everybody else, they've taken care of business. Everybody else, they have taken care of business. They held off Florida A&M, won that game at the buzzer. They dominated Morehouse. No surprises there. I think the part about Saturday was just as, all right, so it was 2014. But yes. So last time Howard beat Hampton before this year, Barack Obama was still president. God, I wish we could get those days back. I really do. But it was just how convincing Howard had won that game. And yeah, I agree with Jared on this. If this might have been how bad Hampton looked, then it was just about how bad Hampton looked and Howard looking good. Because I was confused about the quarterback situation because I thought Isaiah Freeman had it locked. And then, Braden Davis came in. I mean, I don't know Braden Davis personally, but I know he played high school football here in Delaware. He played at Middletown High School. His father, Anton Davis, is the former Philadelphia Eagles offensive tackle. So Anton lives in this area. So his son went to school here. So, I mean, Braden Davis in high school looked like the second coming of probably like Dan Marino, Joe Montana, John Elway. Like, he was a top-notch quarterback. He couldn't get on the field in South Carolina. He's at Hampton now. And I think that's something that Trent Boykin is going to have to figure out going forward. Is it going to be Freeman or is it going to be Davis? Because you can't have both. As usual, as the great John Madden used to say, the late great John Madden used to say, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. So, and you got to figure that out first. That's where the EA, this ain't the swag page, bro. I know Stutter and Noob asked about the swag page. I don't know what we gonna do. The three of us are gonna have to, the three of us that are active, myself, Kendrick, and Jared, we're gonna have to find a way to get on one day this week or one day soon to, get back to swag business somehow. Somehow, some way. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We gotta figure out a way. Because it's great that we have two consistent programs, but we need three. The swag page is something that people look forward to. The roundtable is something to look forward to. So we got to start, planning for a return to that show as well. But yeah, I don't know if that makes JSU suspect. It just means that Hampton looked good for about 15 minutes. But outside of that, they have just not looked like a good football team. And I'll eat some crow on this. I said Hampton and A&T are not going to be as bad as they look. And they'd have made me look like a damn fool. A pure D fool, as the old folks used to say. Thanks, Hampton. Thanks, A&T. But hey, it is what it is, The beauty of black college football. Ain't it grand? And do I think Howard has a chance in the MEAC this year? Yeah. I mean, they're 3-1 already. I mean, they're already 3/4 away to their entire win total of 2024. So, it doesn't get any easier for them this week. They go to Richmond. And Richmond has always, bullied the MEAC. Even in the early days. But, it's going to be tough for Howard. But this Howard team looks like they'll give Richmond a fight at least, which is all you can ask for. So it'll be very interesting to see how that looks. The rest of the MEAC, like I said, South Carolina State looked good for a half against South Florida, but South Florida's experience and depth and took over, and that hurt. But I still think South Carolina State has a say in this. As the great Ric Flair used to say, to be the man, woo, You got to beat the man. And until further notice, South Carolina State's the man. Chennis Berry, I doubt he would ever wear a Ric Flair robe, but I would pay to see that, to be quite honest with you. I would pay to see that. Chennis Berry wearing one of Ric Flair or a Ric Flair style robe. Because Ric Flair used to put that stuff on back in the day. Like if you an old school wrestling fan, you remember Ric Flair used to have them robes in all colors, buddy. Like green, fuchsia, pink, red, purple, black, gold. Like Ric Flair's robes, man, used to be elite. So yeah, I would pay to see Chennis Berry rocking a Ric Flair style robe. I would. But yeah, until further notice, South Carolina State is the MEAC defending champion, and they challenged themselves in the non-conference. I mean, they played South Carolina, they played South Florida. They've been able to take care of business against, their SoCon OVC opponents, and they beat Bethune-Cookman recently. I think Savannah State is still on schedule for them. So I'm very interested to see how, South Carolina State moves forward. But I can promise you this. The MEAC, it ain't what it used to be. And that's a good thing. You can probably pick at least 4 teams with a more than fair shot to win the whole thing. Of course, we got North Carolina A&T, who I think is the favorite right now. South Carolina State is close behind. Howard looks good. Delaware State, I haven't even talked about my Hornets yet. They look good. Morgan State, they finally get on the winning side of things. And they'll probably do that again this week when they go to Indianapolis for the Circle City against Miles. I haven't been to Indianapolis in 20 years, and I hope the Morgan State football team and the Miles football team have a good time. I did not have a good time when I was in Indianapolis. Indianapolis put me to sleep. But this was 2006. So, maybe a lot has changed in Naptown since then. Maybe it has. I don't know. But hopefully Morgan State has a good time. They go over there, they win the game, and they come back strong. And that's the hope and prayer. Delaware State, meanwhile, I got to talk about my Hornets. We wouldn't get out of here without talking about my Hornets, y'all. You know this. 3-game winning streak for the first time since 2012. 3-1 start for the first time since the last time they won the MEAC in 2007, which is a long time ago. But that MEAC team, did I, Amanda? I'm so sorry. I meant North Carolina Central is the favorite in the MEAC, not North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T might not even be the favorite in the CIAA right now. But yeah, I'm sorry. North Carolina Central is the favorite in the MEAC for me by a country mile. I mean, they just look against their level of competition. They look really, really good. But yeah, back to my Hornets. The last time they started the season 3-1 was 2007. That was the last time they won the MEAC. And that was the first time we ever played UD. And they beat our behinds. That was not a fun trip. I mean, it was literally the Friday after Thanksgiving in Newark, Delaware. And it was one of the coldest late November days ever. Like, literally might have been 20-something degrees outside, because I came home for Thanksgiving because I was living in St. Mary's County, Maryland. And let me say this again on the record. Don't you ever in your life, as a Black person, move to St. Mary's County, Maryland, unless you're in the military or in Navy, because the naval base is down there, Patuxent Air Naval Station. If you got to go there because you're in the Navy, I can't help you with that. But if you are a Black person of your own volition, don't you dare go to St. Mary's County, Maryland under any circumstances. I'm still traumatized from that experience. But yeah, I came home from work to go watch that game in Delaware Stadium. And Joe Flacco, dog, you know how long Joe Flacco has been in the public conscience? Like, he was the quarterback at UD the first time UD and Del State ever played. And now he is still playing North Carolina. Now he's still playing pro football for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco is going to end up being this generation's George Blanda. But yeah, Flacco put a hurting on Delaware State that day, buddy. And that was a long drive back down to St. Mary's County, Maryland. And, shouts out to Jared, the PG representative, as a Marylander. I second it. Yeah, don't you ever go to St. Amanda, it's a sundown county. The entire county. I'll never forget. 2 weeks. First 2 weeks into my stay in St. Mary's County, Maryland. I love telling stories if y'all haven't noticed yet. I mean, because I have a million of them. Like Jimmy Durant used to say, I got a million of them. Cha cha cha. But yeah, my arrival in St. Mary's County coincided with the first ever Walmart down there. That should have told me to turn my back behind around and come back home to Delaware. But no, I stayed. And I got pulled over within the first 2 weeks. And this dude was talking about, oh, you don't have your tags and title changed yet. And this looks like a drug dealer's car. This is an arrestable offense. What is driving a 1992 Pontiac Bonneville an arrestable offense about? Help me understand that. And so St. Mary's County was on my sugar honey iced tea list from that point forward. Didn't get much better because in Walmart, that same brand new Walmart that opened up the same time I got there, this toddler couldn't have been older than 2 or 3 years old. White toddler, of course. Looks at me out of her parents' cart and says, "Oh, hello, strange dark person." I'm like, what the I said, my eyes are wide now, but they were wider then. And this dude, and the father turned around and his face was beet red. And I just looked at him like, I know you ashamed of yourself. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But yeah, maybe you just mad. Maybe you just upset that your daughter let out your little racist secret. But yeah, St. Mary's County, Maryland. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. If you're a black person, don't you dare. But yeah, but back to Delaware State football. They lead all of FCS in rushing, 291 yards per game. And I'm interested to see how that holds up as the season progresses. Because here's the thing. You got Sacred Heart this weekend, who just ran for 295 yards against Norfolk State. So I think these two teams are going to combine for maybe 200 passing yards between the two of them. So if you like that old school football, 3 yards in a cloud of dust and all of that, be sure to tune into Delaware State Sacred Heart this Saturday at 12 o'clock on ESPN Plus. There is going to be a lot of ground power in Connecticut this weekend. Then next week after that, Delaware State has Monmouth. Monmouth is at the top of the coastal right now, and they just hung 53 on Villanova. 53. And Villanova. No, I said St. Mary's. Princess Anne is in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Eastern Shore of Maryland ain't that bad. It's a lot more black people there. But St. Mary's County is on the other side of the Chesapeake. And once again, don't go. Don't go. Just don't go to St. Mary's County. I promise you, please don't. But yeah, Delaware State's schedule gets tougher these next two games. I mean, Sacred Heart is no joke. They just beat Norfolk State. Again, Monmouth put 50, and Villanova used to be the top dog in the Coastal. And Monmouth is just a brand new program. Well, not a brand new program, but they are just now starting to get to be, known. And they hung 53 on Villanova. So DSU really has their work cut out for them before they come back home for homecoming. But if they can win, if they can split these two games, if they can beat Sacred Heart, don't embarrass themselves against Monmouth, and then beat Southern Connecticut State for homecoming, they'll be 5-2 going into the MEAC. And that is probably that is coach of the year stuff. That is absolutely coach of the year stuff. If they can win 2 MEAC games and finish 7-5, then Deshaun Jackson should absolutely be MEAC coach of the year. Might even be HBCU coach of the year. Because this Delaware State football program has been terrible forever. Well, not forever, but for the last 10, 15 years. It has not been anything to write home about. And now we are in a place where people can take Delaware State football seriously. I mean, granted, you still got to figure out, these last 3 non-conference games. You can't lose all 3. You lose all 3, then it's like, all right, man, we got another year to do some work. But if you go 2-1 in this stretch and you're 5-2 going into MEAC play, then everybody in the MEAC is kind of like looking with a head on it, sort of like, yo, we got to look out for Delaware State now. So yes, it'll be interesting. I don't think Villanova's. I don't think Villanova's going to the Pioneer. I thought Villanova was going to the. They are, Brandon. Wow. Clock that T. I did not know that about Villanova. I did not know Villanova was giving up the FCS ghost, as it were. But that's part of the game. We are learning that this new money era of college sports isn't for everybody. And there's no shame in it. Not everybody's going to be able to pay these kids millions of dollars to stay at their institutions. I mean, it's just not reasonable. It's not, I mean, it isn't reasonable for HBCUs. And now we're starting to find out that it ain't reasonable for PWIs either. Because nobody has money like that. There's only a select few of schools, and they're all Power Fours, that have that kind of cachet. Villanova's going to the Patriot League. That's a stunner. Wait a minute. Isn't Richmond going to the Patriot League too? Or isn't Richmond already there? Either way, we are finding out quickly just how tenuous this big time college atmosphere really is. Because now that they're throwing money around, not everybody has that money to keep up. And I think that's fair. And I absolutely think that's fair. Let me answer Amanda's question, because I need to think about this. How many conference games am I expecting DSU to win? Whew. I can tell you now, I don't think they're ready for Central or South Carolina State as of yet. Not right now. Things could change in the next couple weeks to, make me think differently. But I still think Central and South Carolina State are head and shoulders above everybody else in the conference. I do. So I think those are two losses. I think they can play with Howard. I think they can play. I absolutely think they can play with Morgan State. I think they can beat Norfolk State. I do. So if you had to make me pick, I would say, 3-2 is a reasonable expectation. 2-3, okay. 1-4, 0-5 is like, damn, still got some work to do. But if they can win at least a couple of conference games and finish, 500 or better, then we know that this program is headed in the right direction. So, I mean, if you had to make me pick between two or three conference games, anything more than that, then it is a cartwheel situation for me. It's interesting you bring this up, EA. I just hope that we HBCUs are seeing what's happening and are proactive before it's too late. I fear we aren't. Actually, I like what the NCAA commissioners have done. I like what because if you guys missed that, Dr. McClellan, Sonia Stills, Anthony Holloman of the SIAC, and Commissioner McWilliams Parker, the CIAA, they've all sort of formed a think tank, as it were, and an initiative. It's called HBC for Us. And they recently wrote a letter to Congressional Black Caucus in support of the SCORE Act. The SCORE Act would be the first and only required nationally uniform NIL act. Because in case people don't know, there's like 30, 40 different states with NIL laws, and they're all like markedly different. So the SCORE Act would pull NIL under one national umbrella. And I like that these commissioners have been proactive in saying, all right, we got to close ranks, because we already know what's going to happen. We already know what's going to happen when the ship starts sinking. They're going to throw our asses overboard first. So I like what our commissioners are doing. We got to give them some grace, because we are living in just one huge unprecedented time, aren't we? Everything that we see going on in this country and in this world is just like totally unprecedented times. And college athletics is no different. Like, this is the first time in recorded history that we have been able to pay athletes, and that athletes have been able to be paid. And now we got to, get these commissioners and executives and folks, all in the same room and on the same wavelength to make sure that they not only remain competitive athletically, but save the institutions. Keep our institutions, the core mission of our institutions alive, which is educating young Black kids. That should always be what we do. I mean, sports is great. I mean, this is HBCU sports. This is what we talk about here. But we got to make sure we got to make sure we have HBCUs that are healthy, so we can talk about HBCU sports. So I like what the NCAA 4 commissioners are doing in terms of, closing ranks and saying, all right, we got to pull together. We got to, start thinking about what will our role in this look like? What will we look like upon the collapse of the NCAA? And this is my point, Brandon. The SEC won't allow it. But that's probably why you can expect a Power 4 league in short order. Like, I don't have any intel. I don't have any inside information to quote my guy, Tony Reali, about that. But I promise you, there's going to come a point where the other NCAA conferences say, nah, we ain't going. Do your own thing. Leave us out of it. And the Power 4 will say, well, hey, we bring in most of the money anyway. So yeah, sure, we'll do it. And that might mean the end of the NCAA as we know it. So we got to start preparing for that possibility. I mean, this is not, I mean, again, this is just something, this is uncharted territory for everybody involved. This is uncharted. This is new. This is something that none of us can really put a handprint on, put a fingerprint on, and just be like, okay, so here's what we do moving forward. Here's what a post NCAA world looks like. Nobody has a clue what that's going to look like. Nobody. So we got to give our commissioners grace. We got to give our athletic directors grace. We got to give our chancellors grace, because this is some new sugar honey iced tea, y'all. Like, there's nothing in recorded history of college athletics like this. Like, this is brand new for everybody. And everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to do. That's why you've got all these conference realignments going on. That's why Delaware joined Conference USA, because they felt like the Coastal was on, borrowed time. And lo and behold, most of the Coastal's big guns, Delaware, Villanova, William and Mary, Richmond, they out. So now the Coastal looks, just like any other FCS mid-major conference. So what does the Coastal do? The Big South OVC is losing somebody. I forget who it is. And so what do they do? What do they do? Excuse me. It's a lot. But, just like we're going to have to wait out to see what the fall of this American society is going to look like, because it is happening. Believe me, it is happening. What does the fall of the NCAA look like? We just going to wait and see. As one of my favorite Tina Marie songs goes, tune in tomorrow. But yes, NCCU alum asks, if you had to pick an upset game of the year for the MEAC, which game do you think would take place? I can tell you this. Morgan State gives South Carolina State and North Carolina Central more trouble than anybody else in this conference. If Morgan State can figure out something on offense, because yes, it's the same thing. They have a great defense, but that offense goes out to lunch at the worst possible times. So if Morgan State can figure out something offensively, I think they could beat either South Carolina. That would be the upset. Either them beating South Carolina State or North Carolina Central. Either one of the two. That's my pick. Anything else wouldn't be that big of an upset to me, to be quite honest with you. Like, I don't think that Delaware State, if they were able to get one off of Central or State, wouldn't surprise me. Howard beating Central wouldn't surprise me. Howard beating South Carolina State would surprise me, honestly, because South Carolina State absolutely bogarted them last year up there in DC, dog. Like, that was a Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Elbow off the top last year, buddy. I don't think it's fair to question Damon Wilson's job security yet. Because remember, this is a Morgan State program that has not been any good for 45 years. I mean, listen, it ain't easy. It ain't easy building I think what hurt Coach Wilson and his staff is that he joined Morgan State at a time when we're starting to see all this influx with the portal and NIL and all of that stuff. And he's trying to, put that stuff up on the fly. I mean, again, we are asking coaches and administrators who have never dealt with this stuff before to have all the answers. And no one does. Not even FBS coaches have the answers for this. So we can point the finger at the coaches and say, "Oh, that's why they're not winning. Oh, that's why they're this or that." Hey, man, you go through your job at an unprecedented time and see how much grace people give you. And I'm with Jared. Now, this ain't Damon Wilson's fault. And yes, Amanda, Morgan State has won 2 MEAC championships since 1979. 2. Dos. Do. However you say two in German. That many. Or as little kids say when you ask them how old they are. How old are you? These many. That's how many championships in football Morgan State has won in the last 45 years. And 2014 was an absolute fluke. An absolute fluke. So, it's hard. You can't, it's hard to pin this on a coach when the program has been bad. It's like Don Cherry, the hockey coach, used to say, it's hard to fly like an eagle when you're mixed up with turkeys. So, you can't blame Damon Wilson for this. Morgan State been bad before he got there. And their one MEAC championship this millennium was a fluke, an absolute, like, oh my God. It's just like, I don't know, man. You can't blame Damon Wilson for this, dog. You can't. I'm sorry. that dog ain't gonna hunt with me. Morgan State's been bad longer than he got there, before he got there. So the thing with Morgan is probably one of the few HBCUs that have the funding and the resources to stay Division I. They got the money. They build new buildings and stuff over there. Like I can open my phone right now and say, oh, there's a new building up in Morgan State. Morgan State got the money. They just haven't got the results yet. It's hard, man. And granted, people around and say, oh, they're in Baltimore. They should be able to get all the kids. Not when people are steering the kids out of the city. That's what a lot of people forget about, not just HBCUs in large cities, large black cities, but, college cities, colleges with black cities, period. Because we tell our kids all the time, get out if you can. Like they say it in Philly. That's why Lincoln struggles. We say it all. They say it all the time about DC. That's why Howard doesn't get a lot of kids from the area. They still get kids from the area, but not as many as they probably should. So so it's just harder, for a program that just has not had that level of success in recent years to just turn it on like that. And so I'm not going to, Morgan, and yes, Amanda, Morgan had a great campus back when I was a student. And we're talking 20 something years ago. I was there when Hughes Stadium reopened in 2002. And Hughes Stadium is still, as of right now, if you had to make me pick a favorite stadium to cover black college football or cover a MEAC game, in Hughes Stadium tops the list. It does. O'Kelly Riddick has a great atmosphere. Because of just how, congested it is. Alumni Stadium is home. I like Green Stadium. I've never been to Oliver C. Dawson, unfortunately. I would love to go one day. But out of all the schools that I've covered HBCU sports in, Hughes Stadium is still one of my very favorites. Absolutely. Just Morgan has a beautiful campus all the way. And they just haven't been able to, parlay that into extended football and largely basketball success. It's hard. It's hard to compete, man. Especially when everybody else is trying to get the same thing you are. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Whew. I ain't gonna say too much about West Baltimore, but yeah. Cobbin State. That's why I'm crazy. That's why I'm always laughing when people say, when is Cobbin State gonna bring in football? Where in West Baltimore are you going to build a football stadium? Where? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? Where? But yeah, Morgan has a phenomenal campus. They have great leadership. It just has not been, athletically. Oh, I like Armstrong. I do like Armstrong. And I do like Dick Price. Dick Price is the biggest. Absolutely. Pause. Whoa. Hey, yo. Oh man. I'm sorry. But Dick Price is the stadium with the most seats. But yes. But I like Hughes Stadium a lot. Hughes Stadium is just a beautifully laid out facility. Like if you've never been to Hughes Stadium at Morgan State, Go. You'll be glad you did. Jared said, I'm pretty sure there's a Pee Wee football field Coppin could use. Yeah. How many kids are you going to get with a Pee Wee football field? That's the question. But yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's just been, I mean, it's difficult to compete at this level. I don't care who you are. I mean, listen, we just found out that Villanova, Richmond, and William and Mary are going to a non-scholarship league for football. And these were teams that competed at an FCS national level for generations. This money game ain't for everybody, y'all. And I'm glad that our commissioners are starting to figure out a way out of this money game, because we can't afford to pay it and keep our schools going. Like, yes, we want to have sports. Yes, we want to have competitive athletic programs, but not at the risk of jeopardizing our institutions. Damn, Brandon, you firing shots at kids? Golly. Sheesh. Morgan students haven't been to Houston. That's cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded. NCCU alum says, what is the end goal for the MEAC expansion? Do schools really want to join when your quality schools are leaving? What? Hey, you can't make teams move up that don't want to move up. As I the Watcher often says that Fayetteville State, everybody keeps saying Fayetteville State. Fayetteville State is a North Carolina promise school that cannot raise tuition or enrollment. Like, they're fixed enrollment, fixed tuition. So it's not like they can, just jack up the student fees and say, all right, we're going to the MEAC. Virginia State is very comfortable in the CIAA, even though they have MEAC level facilities. When Tiffany Dawn Sykes was hired as AD, I jokingly said on this program, AD Sykes, would you like to join the MEAC? They're good where they are. Same for Bowie State. I mean, again, it now costs $4 million to move up from D2 to D1. None of us have $4 million lying around. And if we do have $4 million lying around, that's probably better off for university infrastructure, outside of sports. So it's hard, man. I wish I knew the plan too. I mean, I've talked to Commissioner Stills twice for stories, and she's talked about infrastructure and a master plan. She hasn't really given any details about it yet. I hope that those details surface eventually, because we got to start doing something. But again, you can't make people move if they don't want to move. I would like VSU and the MEAC. I absolutely would, because I like their new convocation center. Was not that new, but it's still fairly new. Is really, really nice. I mean, their stadium, their football stadium probably could use some, infrastructure upgrades with grandstands and stuff, but still, it's big enough for a Division I football team. But if Virginia State can't afford to move up, then we shouldn't make them move up. If Fayetteville State can't move up, we can't keep begging Fayetteville State to move up. I mean, everybody's talking about, Morehouse or Tuskegee, but then again, that would kill the point of the MEAC, because bringing either Morehouse and Tuskegee in would be just like the reasons that Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M left to travel. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a, as my grandmother used to say, damned if you do, damned if you don't. The MEAC is literally caught in the middle of something that I don't know that they can get out of, unless there's like this brand new, legislature where the NCAA says, okay, we'll knock that price back down to $1 million or something like that, or even something less. Yeah, NCCU alum Brandon Cyrus said this up. Chicago State was in talks, but the presidents vetoed it, which I find interesting. That's still a long ways to travel. If you're going from Durham, North Carolina to Chicago, Illinois as the volleyball team, that's a long ride, because you definitely gonna be catching connectors. Because I don't think you're driving a bus all the way from Durham, North Carolina to Chicago, Illinois, or Orangeburg, South Carolina to Chicago, Illinois. Tough, man. Very, very tough. EA says, let me counter that with the argument that Bethune-Cookman is traveling just as far or farther in the SWAC. I think what Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, they're kind of like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. You can't have one without the other. And as much as those two hate each other, they are connected at the hip, basically. So when FAMU said we going to the SWAC, Bethune-Cookman said, all right, we going to. Ain't leaving us behind. So, it's just one of those things where you just have to live with it and accept it. I used to be mad because the former Florida A&M AD was like, who wants to travel to Dover, Delaware? I'm like, so you just going to fire shots at Delaware State like that? You ain't got to do all that. So, Laquan Workman says, don't let Dennis Thomas off the hook. The building was on fire when he left. Very true. Very true. I mean, Dr. Thomas is going to get the benefit of the doubt because the Celebration Bowl is his baby. And the way to celebrate, and as popular as the Celebration Bowl is, he is never going to be castigated for that. Because the Celebration Bowl is a money maker. Make no mistake about it. Like when you got ESPN, throwing dollars at this thing, making sure that they are the Celebration Bowl is the first bowl game of the bowl season. So, I mean, Dr. Thomas, some of the other stuff might be questionable, but his legacy is secure with the Celebration Bowl. The Celebration Bowl is going to do for Dennis Thomas' legacy what, in my opinion, grits does for sugar. Sugar does for grits. It makes it palatable. So, yeah, people are going to be, 4 or 5 teams left under his watch, but he created an event that keeps the MEAC alive for now. Because if there was no Celebration Bowl, I'm telling you right now, there would be no MEAC. I think that's something that we all can agree on. If there wasn't a Celebration Bowl, the MEAC would have been history. But as long as ESPN says we will pay you guys $2 million to be the first bowl game on, and you get to win a national championship, the MEAC will stay together. That's why Delaware State has not left for the Northeast Conference yet, because they've been the Delaware State Northeast Conference flirtation is kind of like, do I really want to make this parallel? We're all adults here. Okay, so yeah, I can make this parallel. If you've ever been to a certain type of party and you have, been eyeing this person across the room, all the stuff that's going on around you, but y'all be looking at each other and y'all like, yeah, I'm gonna see you before the night's over or the weekend's over. That's how it feels with Delaware State and Northeast Conference. And I'll leave it at that. But as far as everyone else goes, I just don't know where everyone else goes if the MEAC dies. Because who's going to take Central? Who's going to take Norfolk State? Who's going to take, South Carolina State in the SoCon is just like a slam dunk. But, everyone else, where Morgan State, Howard, Cobb State, UMES is going to go. There's no real, it's a catch-22, basically. That's really what it boils down to. Laquan says the Celebration Bowl is great. However, the MEAC leads the series and on life support. Yeah. The MEAC is on life support. Absolutely. We can't deny this anymore. We cannot. Yeah, it's the big head homecoming text. Absolutely. I've been wanting you text. That type of deal. So hopefully whatever happens, I would hate for the MEAC to die because I'm a MEAC baby. When I first became student reporter at Delaware State in 2002, the MEAC was as strong as an ox, boy. We had Hampton, we had Howard, we had Morgan State, we had Florida A&M, we had Bethune-Cookman, A&T. Central and Central hadn't joined yet, but they were in the process of getting ready to join. We were recording Winston-Salem. Were we recording Winston-Salem State at that time? I don't think we were. We were recording Morris Brown. Yes, Morris Brown was originally supposed to join the MEAC. But Morris Brown ran into those financial shenanigans, closed down for a little while. That was the end of that. We ended up getting Savannah State. Savannah State decided we can't afford to play this game. Winston-Salem State joined, said we can't afford to play this game. We out. So I've seen the MEAC in flux for more than half of my life, all of my adult life, to keep it a buck. So, I mean, the MEAC, because you got to think, when the MEAC started in 1970, there's a quick little history lesson for you guys. When the MEAC started in 1970, the CIAA had 18 squads, 18 of them things. And it just didn't make sense in 1970 terms for a NCAA conference, Division II as they were at the time, to be that doggone huge. So I think what hurt when the MEAC, I think what hurt the MEAC was just the scattershot nature of who got those first invites. Because the original MEAC schools were Delaware State, Howard, Norfolk State, Maryland State at the time, UMES now, A&T, Central, and South Carolina State came from the SIAC. Florida A&M wasn't leaving the SIAC, but Thorne Cook wasn't leaving the SIAC. Coppin State wasn't a NCAA program at that time. So the 7 that joined, they all, they all had a similar thing in mind, but the logistics were going to hurt them eventually because they just skipped around most of North Carolina and South Carolina to build this conference. And with the way college athletics just changed over time, it hurt. It was going to hurt eventually. And then even when Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman joined in the late 70s, it just added, travel miles for everybody. And even when UMES canceled football, it didn't help. UMES canceling football in 1979 is probably where the line of demarcation really begins, where the MEAC starts to struggle. So, it was a challenge, y'all. It's a challenge. The MEAC started with the best of intentions, but now 55 years later, I don't know if the MEAC has a place in the college athletics landscape. And that hurts. That hurts to say because, again, I am a child of the MEAC. I'm an adult now, full-grown adult, as you can tell by these grays in my beard. I'm a full-grown adult, but back then I was a child of the MEAC. Now it's like, how long can this thing stay together? Who knows? Who knows? And Brandon Cyrus with a good point about the formation of MEAC, those schools that were mostly focused on football compared to CIAA conference. Because you had St. Paul's was St. Paul was still going. So was St. Aug's. West Virginia State, was still was still a CIAA at that time. So, and then you think about what Winston-Salem State's been able to do. Who else is still? Was Bowie in the CI at that time? Somebody will correct me on that. I think Jared will correct me on that if I'm wrong. You still had Livingstone, you still had Fayetteville, you still had Elizabeth City State, Virginia State, obviously. So, it's a challenge. Ida Watcher with a great question. Why doesn't the MEAC bid out their basketball tournament like the CIAA? Because the CIAA has so much more going for it in terms of basketball than the MEAC does. Like the CIAA tournament has been an event for generations. Like people nationally mourned the death of Mr. Abraham Mitchell, aka Mr. CIAA. Like there were news wires about Mr. CIAA. The MEAC doesn't have that kind of cachet. They just don't. People from all walks of life were saying, "Oh man, the dude that used to put that stuff on passed." Man, the MEAC does not have that kind of basketball tournament. You just don't. So and I like the scope. I like the scope. So you get no complaints from me about Norfolk at all, or Norfolk, as they say. You're not gonna get any complaints from me about Norfolk at all. I like where it's at. Granted, I still wish that Richmond had done something to upgrade the Richmond Coliseum. because the Richmond Coliseum was a fine facility as is. They just let that joint fall into disrepair, and then they were supposed to build a new 18,000 seat stadium, and that never happened. So, but Norfolk is fine. I feel like that's a fair middle point for everybody. Because when the tournament was at the SBC Center in Raleigh, that was not a fair midpoint. So I just can't, get with moving the MEAC tournament back into the Carolinas. Just my personal opinion. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine in Norfolk. I really do. Johnny Thornton asked what metrics are used to support your assertion that the MEAC is on life support. I don't think there's any particular metric in mind, but you have to remember that the MEAC is getting a waiver to continue as a football conference, because you need to have, because everybody's, like, why can't the MEAC have a football championship game? Well, you need to have 8 football playing members. The MEAC only has 6. So, and then of course you got to remember that certain schools are still flirting with other conferences. They are. We may not hear about it, but they are. So the thing that's the Celebration Bowl is the thing that is absolutely holding the MEAC together. And I hope that we get to a point where the Celebration Bowl can not just be, the clear, that it can just be a part of what makes the MEAC great, instead of what it just being the MEAC. That's my hope and prayer. But I just don't know where you're going to get other HBCUs from, because Tennessee State ain't coming. Everybody keep talking about Tennessee State. Tennessee State fine where they are. They like the Big South OVC. Can't judge them for it. A&T and Hampton are not coming back, so people can stop saying that. Virginia State, Bowie State, Fayetteville State are not moving up, so they can stop saying that. So I just don't know where the MEAC goes from an expansion point unless they're adding PWIs. Dare I say? I don't think that'll happen. But this is a good question, ODB. I have no idea. I know they got to. I think they have to reapply for it every couple of years. I know that for sure. But there will come a time when NCAA says, nope, can't use it anymore. Sorry. Then what? I don't know. I mean, I don't know when that day is. And as people try to predict the rapture, my mom always says it. No man knows the day or the hour. So no one knows the day or the hour that the day Jesus is going to come back. And no one knows the day or the hour when the NCAA will say, okay, MEAC, you've used this waiver enough. We don't know. We do not know. So I just don't see it, being a thing where I thought, is it 10? Is it 10? I thought it was 8. If it's 10, then yeah, you can really forget it. Because there's no way we are getting 4 HBCUs from a Division II level to move up. We're not. Because the money just ain't there for everybody to do that. Amanda said, we don't want eggs and tea back in the MEAC. Hey. Listen. If A&T wants to come back, if Hampton wanted to come back, you better believe Sonia Stills and them going to listen. You may not want them back, but if they wanted to come back, as Dennis Jones, let me tell you guys about my friend Dennis Jones. Dennis Jones was Sports Information State Director at Delaware State for generations. He is a salt of the earth human being. He's a great husband, father, grandfather now. And he was my mentor at Delaware State from the sports perspective. So when Florida A&M left the first time in 2004, Dennis said, the MEAC is going to treat them like Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you. And who came back? Not a year later, Florida A&M. So if Hampton and A&T said, all right, y'all, we had enough of the CAA crap. We coming back to the MEAC. The light will be on for Hampton and A&T. Absolutely will be on for them. Yep. Morgan came back too. And is this a Rochelle Farrell reference, WSSU Ram Nation? If so, I greatly appreciate it. With open arms. If you don't know who Rochelle Farrell is, please go to Spotify. I know some of y'all do, but if you don't, just go. Just go type in Rochelle Farrell and be amazed. That's all I got. But yeah, the MEAC is just one of those places where I don't know what they do from here. Benny asked about Skeegee and Clark. Ski again, it's the travel situation. Same for Clark. Who's gonna want to go from Dover to Tuskegee or from Atlanta to Dover? And the thing is, Delaware does not have a traditional airport. Well, now we do. We just got an airport in Newcastle County, Delaware. But Newcastle County, Delaware airport is still 45 minutes north of Delaware State. So most MEAC schools fly into Philadelphia International, then drive all the way down to Dover. So, it's just, and, because Dover Air Force Base does not take kindly to, civilian aircraft, shall we say. So, it's one of those things where, oh, he said he was thinking of Sting. See, I'm not too familiar with Sting in the Police's catalog outside of Roxanne. I'm just not. But yeah. Stephen Campbell, shout out to Stephen Campbell checking in. He says the only team that makes sense is Fayetteville State. Yeah, Fayetteville State would make sense, but like Ida Watcher says, they're a NC Promise school. So it's not like, they can just jack up tuition or student fees and say, okay, we got our full $1 million, let us in MEAC. So it wouldn't, Johnny. But the thing is, the NCAA, they don't have to disrupt the MEAC because the MEAC already is disrupted by and large by itself. So, the NCAA ain't got to do a doggone thing. So the MEAC has to figure out what it wants to do, what it wants to be, and how they're going to get there. That is for certain. Okay, so it was Journey he was thinking about. Yeah. Not too familiar with Journey either, but don't stop believing. I've covered enough high school basketball here in Delaware to know that that's the white people anthem. That and Sweet Caroline. Like one of the local, the all girls private school here in Delaware has a great basketball program, and I've covered a lot of their games. And at the beginning of every fourth quarter, these girls, black, white, Latina, Asian, they all jump up and start bouncing up and down singing Sweet Caroline. It's scary as hell. Like I literally, hide under the basket because what if they bounce too hard and something falls down and hits me on the head? I ain't trying to end up in the CTE protocol. But yeah, anyway, wow, this show is going on damn near 90 minutes. Wow, you guys definitely have embraced the spirit of debate here, yo. I like it. This is fun. You ain't gonna no complaints from me. Because I didn't plan on leaving the house tomorrow anyway, because tomorrow's my birthday. I was gonna go for a run, but it's supposed to rain dogs, frogs, cats, mothers, chickens, and all of that. So I'm going to, relax, wake up tomorrow, go get myself some carrot cake with a cream cheese frosting, and enjoy my birthday. And by the way, if you would like to help with me with a birthday gift, you can donate to hbcusports.com. That usually helps. You can go to the Zelle app, donate at hbcusports.com, or you can donate to hbcusports.com/donate and give your coins there. Oh yeah, I forgot about the super chats. If you guys want to give a super chat before the show is out, I'm not one to complain. If you guys want to drop a super chat for my birthday, it doesn't have to be $44. It can be $4.40. Whatever you want to do. If you want to drop a super chat, we're TLC and David Ruffin. We ain't too proud to beg. But yeah, we're doing better though, which is, better than we've been. But if you guys want to help us, get on an even better keel, so you can help us out with donations. And, that would be a great birthday gift for me. So I can stop worrying about my rent. That's another story. Yeah. Where are you at, KD? I'm in Wilmington, Delaware. So, it's literally like, it's cloudy outside now, and it's supposed to rain in the overnight into the middle of the day tomorrow. I was going to go for a run tomorrow morning. I run, 2 or 3 times a week, and it's looking like it's not going to happen because I don't run in the, I'm not to that level of whiteness yet where I want to run in the rain. It's bad enough that as a black man runner, I'm a dude who doesn't mind running in the cold. Like, yes, I do run in long sleeves and shorts when it's October, November, partially into December. I'm not white enough yet to run in the ring. I can't. Hold on, man. Adrian, I'll let you slide this whole episode. You ain't gonna call me old and we the same peer age, my brother. No, sir. No, sir. You old, you an old ass just like I'm an old ass, okay? Let's make that abundantly clear. We ain't that much difference. We ain't that much different. But yeah. So also there are two other ways that you can rock with me on my birthday. I have a music podcast that's called On the Groove Line. And this week, I am honoring one of the greatest R&B groups to ever do it. It is Whispers Week on my music podcast. If you would like to tune in, I have done, 2 episodes worth of information on the Whispers. And of course, Walter Walter passed away this summer, unfortunately. Him and Scotty are twins, and their birthday was yesterday. So I said, you know what? I'm doing a Whispers Week. So this is the Whispers Week here on the Groove Line. If you want to, give me a sub over there, you can do that. Check out all my great music discussion. What's your now that I got y'all here, Brandon Cyrus, Olivia Zigin, what's your favorite Whisper song? If you got a favorite Whisper song, I would love to hear it. Let me know what your favorite Whisper song is. Also, I have a Patreon to where you can check me out, where I'm talking about all different things that aren't related to sports, related to, job stuff, dating and romance and all those other things. And I also have some creative writing projects in the tuck, that I write novels and such. So if you guys want to, give me a sub over Patreon, that is $1 a month. So if you guys got $1 to spare, you can spare it over there. And I get really, really, creative over on my Patreon. If I can just get this link to cut and paste. So there. All right. So if you guys want to sub to my Patreon, it is $1 a month. You can, check me out over there. Oh, see, I didn't mean to put that up on the screen. But yeah, if you guys want to, give me a sub over on Patreon, it's $1 a month. I'm talking about everything outside of sports, delving into, personal topics and different things over there. And I think it's $1 worth spending. Just my personal opinion. But yeah, that is how you can, keep up with me outside of HBCU sports if you are so interested. But yes, we've been on the air for 83 minutes, an hour and 23 minutes. This has been a really good show. This has been fun. And I hate to leave y'all, but I got to, finish, preparing around my house for my birthday. Even though I live by myself, I still need to do some cleaning. And we also got some more HBCU news to report, so we got to get back to that. But thank you guys for joining me this week. Greatly appreciate it. This is a weekly thing. As you know, I come on at Wednesdays at 12. And, I try to stay at least 45 minutes. We've gone nearly double that. So, KD says her favorite song is Olivia and Cloud9. You mean Just Gets Better with Time? Just want to tell you how I'm feeling inside, like I've been walking cloud number 9. Your love is rare and like the Whispers were in they bag on Just Gets Better with Time, boy. The entire album, because In the Mood is on that album. So yeah, if you guys are interested in following me on all manners of social media, you see the links up there. But for HBCU sports purposes, we are on the Musty app. That's Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. Just search for HBCU Sports. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed, and become a level 1 or level 2 member. So for $4.99 a month, you get all the HBCU sports news that is fit to print and broadcast as we like to give it to you. And we're still gonna be busy this week. I mean, I did not take a week off. I did not take my birthday off. So I'm still gonna be covering games this weekend. I'll be doing some MEAC stuff. Kendrick Marshall's probably gonna have the SWAT covered. Jared Hoffman is gonna do CIAA, SIAC, and NAIA stuff. So we still here for y'all. I mean, we are holding down the fort in Ken Rashad's absence. If you missed that update at the top, Ken is home from the hospital. He is doing well. He and his wife, thank you for your prayers. And we thank you for your prayers for Ken. So hopefully you guys can all, help us keep this thing going until the boss man is well enough to come back and we got the 4-man weave popping again. So that is going to do it once again for this edition of the MEAC and More. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the birthday wishes, KD. Thank you all for tuning in. And until the next time we speak, which probably won't be that far away, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. We got